What's up, it's your girl Gabrielle Union, and you are watching Down to My Love.
Hey you guys, and welcome back to my channel. I hope everyone had a great Christmas break, a great New Year, a great MLK Day, and what a video to start this channel off in the new year. Because today, as you can see from the intro, I got to meet the Gabrielle Union, and oh my gosh, it was amazing. There was like a little small dinner, so we and some other students went to the dinner and we sat down. We got to talk to her on a personal, group basis, and then we were of course able to take pictures with her. And then after that, she gave an actual lecture at Dillard for just talking about pretty much sexual assault, sexual awareness, the #MeToo movement, Time's Up movement, and organizations, and her personal story when it comes to sexual abuse, sexual assault, and how she got through it, and of course her new book, which is We're Gonna Need Some More Wine. And I wish I had gotten the book, but money a little low right now, but I'm definitely going to get it in the future so I can read it, because there were a lot of stories that she mentioned and other people who read the book that asked her questions mentioned, and it just seems like a very phenomenal book, and it seems like it's something that's very, very prevalent, in talking about, all this sexual assault and sexual awareness and things that are coming up and becoming very, very big things in the news of late. So the lecture that she did at Dillard, I recorded all of it, and right now I haven't edited or anything. This is just me after the math. This is my aftermath face, and oh my god, I'm just in shock. So I'm feeling like I'm just going to go ahead and just add the whole thing. Dr. Kimbrough, who is our president here at Dillard, he did a phenomenal job of introducing her, having some great Q&A type of moments where they, had conversations about what she's been through, how she overcame it, how the book came into fruition, and things like that. And I think that the conversation that she had with us and Dr. Kimbrough on stage, it's something that needs to be out there. It's something that needs to be heard. And, there's always so much stigma, especially in the Black community, with books, and people don't want to read and people don't know how to read. But I think that out of all of the books that, people should read and people think are important, I think this one is very much so. From what I've been hearing about it, I haven't even experienced it myself, but I definitely will add this to the list of books that I want to read this year. And I think that for people who have been sexually assaulted and sexually abused or even harassed, I think it's a book that you should definitely read. And then not even if you have or haven't been, but a woman, a Black woman. There are things that were in the book that she mentioned that just being a woman, or being a Black woman, or a woman of color, that we can definitely relate to, and then definitely get insight and gain insight from. And I think that was something that was very important to her. She just didn't want to write a book and just say, oh, hey, I wrote a book and y'all should buy it. But she wanted to give people more insight. And I think even just from not even reading the book yet, but just hearing her speak and hearing the lecture, I've gained a lot of insight. And so that's definitely encouraged me to go and put it on my list. Just a really, really big night for me. And I really, really enjoyed it. Seeing someone of influence, of character, of just being down to earth, nice, amazing. You see so much on TV nowadays, and on television and the news and media and social media nowadays, that it's just, when you see light, it's blinding you, because you see so much negativity, you see so much so much trash. I mean, and not to diss anybody else, but you see so much of other stuff that when you see elegance and when you see put togetherness and when you see not someone who's got it all and knows it all, but someone who is wise in their time and someone who knows what they're talking about and someone who is intelligent, it's amazing. But anyways, I'm going to stop rambling because I'm just so excited that I've experienced this night. And I'm going to say goodnight. And I hope you guys enjoy. And I hope you guys have a great rest of your week. And I will see you guys later. Bye.
Do this for a little while. She and I will have conversation, then we will open it up so you can ask some questions as well. Just remind you, don't go into the long soliloquy and all that. You're going to get your questions in so we can have a lot of people ask questions and have that kind of discussion. But I want to talk and start off talking about, I think it's really important when you have persons who have celebrity that are willing to use it to bring attention to important causes. I had a chance to meet Gabrielle Union in 2009. I read in the paper that she spoke at Howard University. I was at Philander Smith, and my booking agent said, hey, she just did a gig at Howard. I was like, man, I wonder if she would come to Little Rock. And she came to Little Rock and spoke on a Saturday and packed in and had this impassioned conversation about sexual assault. The challenge sometimes for us is that we don't hear the message if we don't know who the messenger is. And I'm always thankful when someone says, I have a platform, I want to use it to give a broader message. And you deal with this a little bit in the book. So talk a little bit about the thinking about being compelled, or your thoughts about how do I use my platform to address this and other very important issues.
So basically, when you're in Hollywood, I'll do some more on Great Day USA. So when you're in Hollywood, you get asked a ton of stupid questions. I know your professors have said, and teachers throughout your life have said, there's no such thing as stupid questions. And I'm here to tell you that's a lie. There are tons of stupid questions that get asked repeatedly over and over and over again. And I just got asked one too many stupid questions on the wrong day. And I said, enough. If I'm gonna have these microphones shoved in my face, I'm going to feed my community. And I'm not feeding anyone talking about who's a better kisser, Will Smith or Jamie Foxx. Will Smith. That's like saying, somebody's got diabetes and I'm feeding them a diet of Snickers and Starbursts. Collectively, we're starving. And when we're looking to the people with the microphone, we can either nourish our minds and our souls, or we can continue the cycle of feeding our people crap. And I wanted to break that cycle. And that's really how it came to be. I just got fed up at the right moment. This last summer, this last July, was the 25th anniversary of my rape. I've been talking about being a rape survivor for 20 years. So well before the Me Too movement was created by Tarana Burke, the hashtag Me Too movement, well before we were talking about Harvey Weinstein, Hollywood, sexual predators, and the sexual predators that lurk in every corner of our global community. I was attempting to provide a face and a story that people could relate to and hopefully be moved by enough to shift their thinking about what it is to be a victim, what it is to be a survivor, and how that doesn't have to define who you are. And along this journey, in the last 20 years, I've realized there are so many people in our global community who are suffering, who are in terrible pain, and we are suffering in silence. From victim blaming to victim shaming, we are silenced. When you factor in race, community, socioeconomics, religion, sexual orientation, disability, those voices get even more marginalized and more silenced. And I've had enough. I've had enough.
Talk a little bit about the process of writing a book. And one of the things that I found as I'm reading it, I think I have about 40 pages left. It really is conversation, something that I'm picking up on reading. You're telling these very interesting stories. So talk about the process of where the idea comes from and then the process you use to sort of share very intimate details of your life. I mean, this is very, this is a book I couldn't, most of the day yesterday, I'm reading this book, I couldn't put it down. And it was all the different stories in there and the cultural references and being of a certain generation really hooked me in too. So I'm like, yeah, I remember blah, blah, blah. So all those things together, but talk a little bit about that process and why you decided to be so open and vulnerable in this book.
So a lot of the essays that are in the book started off as homework assignments in therapy. I know as Black folks, we look at therapy as mind shrinkers or people who are going to try to plant ideas in your mind, and all you need is Jesus and your parents. Again, I'm here to tell you that's not the case. There's many issues that we experience that are beyond our family's area of expertise. There's all sorts of issues that maybe we don't feel safe enough or comfortable enough to discuss with the people closest to us, and we need a professional. Luckily, I had parents who, when I was raped, recognized that this is beyond their area of expertise, and I was immediately put into therapy probably about 5 days after I was raped. I was lucky enough that workman's comp covered my therapy. So a lot of these chapters literally started off 20 years ago, 25 years ago, as therapy. So one of the chapters was, talking about making a happy list. And it was after I had gotten divorced. And I was working with this trainer / life coach, and she was like, had me punch in this heavy bag. She was like, okay, now, give me 10 things that are on your happy list. And I'm punching the bag. I can't think of one thing. I've been to college, graduated, been working for years, almost 10 years, married, divorced. I can't think of one thing that makes me happy. She's like, give me 3 things, give me something. And so finally, the things that popped into my head, all food related. Ground beef. I love me some ground beef, y'all. Real butter. And imitation crab. Can we be real quick? So she said, bitch, did you say imitation crab? Not even the real thing makes you happy? And I was like, it tastes similar and it's cheaper. It's like tears were running down my face, and she said, listen, of course your marriage failed. If you don't know what makes you happy, what made you think someone else was gonna know what made you happy? It's those lessons that I put in the book. And it was also those lessons that I had enough distance from and enough perspective on. And I felt enough peace about that I felt okay to include it in the book, because I knew that anything in the book was going to be, I was going to have to talk about. And I needed to be able to have enough perspective to be able to talk about a lot of the really deep, dark, painful episodes of my life in an effective way. I was gonna have to deal with the media. And so there's nothing that was included in the book that I wasn't comfortable with. There was a lot of chapters that didn't make it, because I was like, not ready yet. It felt therapeutic to write it, but I was like, I'm not ready for the world to dissect this part of my life. And I had to make peace with that being okay, that I don't have to give everything. I don't have to be everything to everybody and screw my peace. That is a reoccurring theme that you hear me talk about a lot tonight. Protecting your peace. Being your most authentic self is to protect your peace and your sanity. So much of the process of writing this book and releasing the book, the writing the book wasn't the hard part. It was the releasing of my truth. Anytime you are your most authentic self and you say, this is me, trust and believe there will be so many people that will try to tell you about yourself. And there's gonna be that thing inside you that wants to be everything to everybody, because we're human beings, we're not nuts. We want people to like us. We want to be accepted. We don't want to be banished. We want to be included in the group and liked within the group. The reality is, you don't know everybody in this group. When you think about the people who actually love you, if you needed a kidney, who would show up? Who would stick to the necessary diet that was required in order to give up a kidney? Who'd be on time to the hospital? So when you think about organizing your life around the validation from people who wouldn't give you a kidney, you might want to rethink that circle and who really matters. In the process of writing that book, I had to really think about who I cared about. And who really even knows me enough? Who have I give access enough to my life to even be able to say anything to me? And that number has shrunk from the time I was y'all's age. I would have thought in my mind and in my heart, I've got so many friends, I've got so many family members. Sometimes it's the people closest to you who cannot wait to watch you fall into documentaries. Everybody doesn't deserve the truth. Protect your peace.
I guess we are having a revival moment that that's okay. That's okay. One of the things I think that you explore very openly are ideas about sex and sexuality. Just letting the students know that next week we're doing a sex week, a sexual responsibility week, and it was based out of some conversation I had this summer. Human Rights Campaign has an HBCU LGBTQ group, and the presidents that were there, only 3 HBCU presidents were there. That's another conversation because I'm still upset about that. But they asked us to really come up with an action plan. So one of the things with one of the panel discussions, you had LGBTQ students saying, we don't always really know how our body works. And I'm like, heterosexual students don't know how theirs work either. And I was laughing because there is this line in the book where she, this whole that's not your vagina. It was like, really, you gotta read the whole context because it's funny. But you go into lots of detail about sex and sexual relationships. What caused you to share that part of your experience? Because part of this book to me reminds me of almost a Generation X Black girl coming of age book, almost like Joan Morgan has a book called When Chicken Heads Come Home to Roost. It reminded me of that. I got that kind of feel from it. Why did you decide to go into that detail and those kinds of nuggets with your own experience as a part of this process?
Because I know I wasn't alone. And I knew that there were, if I, as an educated young child, voracious reader, could somehow magically not know my clitoris from my vagina, I knew there were others out there who too were like, what? What is this? Little nuggets, spoiler alert. In the book, I talk about how when I got my period, for the longest, I would always have accidents because I would put my pad up really high because I thought my vagina was my urethra and clitoris. I thought I knew where that was where the fun was. So in my mind, when people were talking about you know, how painful childbirth is. I'm like, of course, it's a tiny little hole. This is amazing that a human being could come from it. It never occurred to me to look any deeper. And so no one could figure out why Lyric was having these forever, every month. Be like, oh, she's got the sweatshirt tied around her waist again. And it wasn't until I was swimming and got my period, and my girlfriend was like, oh, I got a tampon. And I was like, tampon? I'm not a whore. And she was like, oh, what? Oh, you're a weirdo. And she's like, no, seriously, like, we're not gonna leave, so, like, just put a tampon in. So I'm like, yeah, okay, sure, yeah, okay, yeah. I had no clue, I'm looking at, there was no box, she just handed me one. I didn't have any directions, and I was taking too long, obviously, for her taste. And she comes in, and she was like, what is going on? And I was like, it's too big, I can't get it in there. And she was like, where are you putting it? And she comes in, and my girlfriend, you know, helps me put it in. And I was like, where are you going? You're going past the good parts. Going too low. And she puts it in, and I was like, oh. But you realize that we don't actually have honest and thorough, clear conversations with our kids about their bodies, about what's gonna happen as we're going through puberty, what's gonna happen as we age, what sex should feel like. We don't ever talk about it. Well, now it's more of a common phrase of enthusiastic affirmative consent. We definitely don't talk about reciprocity. You all should be clapping on that. There should be a standing ovation. Anyone in here, and feel free to not raise your hand and to identify yourself as sexually active, just know in your heart. Sex should be something, if you are having it, and you're that grown, it should be something that you enjoy. Your partner should also enjoy it. Begging and begging and using coercive tactics to get someone to submit is not consent. If you gotta beg and plead, it ain't your day. If you have used the phrase, I just let him do it, also maybe time to put a pin in it until you're ready to enjoy sex and receive as much as you give. Sex isn't a 2 a.m., 4 a.m., you up. If you're both sending the text. We are not sexual receptacles to be used and discarded. Sex should not be a dehumanizing experience. You should check in and check in often with your partner. Do you like this? Are you okay? Having that conversation is the most romantic, sexy thing you could do. Ain't nothing sexy about a mute partner. In the book, I talk about reciprocity, and on the press tour, it became a punchline. I never talk about the sex I have with my husband. I'm 45, y'all. I've been having sex for 30 years. He wasn't the first. Hopefully he'll be the last, but he wasn't the first. So when I talk about reciprocity, there's some other people that came before D-Wade. So when I talk to young girls and they were telling me, oh yeah, pardon my language, I went down on him. He's my friend. I was like, oh, this sounds like an amazing friendship. He went down on you as well? No. Ooh. Ew. What kind of friendship is this? It's a terrible friendship. If you're homie lover friends, it goes both ways. Homie lover friend goes both ways. You are not receptacles to be used. You are not begging and pleading. You are asking, you are re-asking, you are reassuring that your partner is happy and comfortable. Coercion is not consent. Sex should not be a humiliating, demoralizing, dehumanizing experience. Sex should be fun for everyone, or perhaps it's time to put a pin in it until we are grown enough to have these honest discussions about what our needs are, where our boundaries are, and our level of comfort is. And whatever you're into, baby, delicious, great. But make those boundaries known. Make your needs known. And anyone who dares call you a freak, let's re-examine that circle, kids. Protect your peace. We don't judge here. People who judge are never having the best time anyway. We don't need to be another.
I can talk to you all day, but I'm gonna let y'all get in now.